The views and opinions expressed on Unlock Your Wealth Radio are those of the host, guests, and callers only and are not necessarily the views of Unlock Your Wealth Radio, Heather Wagenhals, or Success Publishing International.
More willpower than a barefoot woman at a shoe sale. Able to stretch a single paycheck for an entire month. Makes money concepts easier than third grade math. Introducing your purveyor of prosperity, Heather Wagenhals.
Work all day, stress all night. Take your mind off your money and focus on your life. Money don't matter or the stuff it bought. It's the way you think, not what you've got, yeah.
Unlock Your Wealth Radio starts now. Get your money mind right.
Woo! Welcome to the show, everyone. This part of Unlock Your Wealth Radio is sponsored by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download at unlockyourwealthradio.com/free book and click on the link to over 150,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. How about the 7 Elements for Self-Empowerment? Yes, you can 2.0. There's a free book that you could get. And we did that. Me and you, Michael.
We did.
Yay. By the way, I'm Heather Wagenhals, flanked by the maestro of Moolah, Michael Terry.
Hey, folks.
And we are going to help you get your money mind right on today's show with the following great features. First off, we have Moolah Word of the Day. And since I am having to write checks today, it goes along with me having to write checks. We also have our key for the week, which is...
Don't forget to send Michael some money, too. That's
not the key.
Forget the perfection principle.
Yeah. Oh, my God. We are so way far.
Yeah, we got...
in the season.
Key 11.
I know. Forget the perfection principle. So we'll talk about that. And then our topic-driven show for today is, wouldn't you like to know how to buy anything and not overspend?
Absolutely.
There is a really great process. And I actually had to work through it this weekend when I had an appliance failure and I had to buy a new appliance.
And those are the times when it's hard to do that.
Well, but you know what? I was actually really good, and I didn't overspend, and so it's really funny because I was thinking about doing this show a few weeks ago. I talked about it, but we never got around to it. And I thought, you know what, this is going to be great. And I actually said, you know what, I'm going to employ that process again because, as we know, the mistakes we make with money have nothing to do with money and everything to do with emotion and our biological responses to what's going on in our environment.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, because I was already starting to have that biological response move towards something fabulous.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
let's get the refrigerator with 25,000 bells and whistles on it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, so I was like, you know what? I'm just having a hiccup in my time is what this particular appliance failure caused. And so I thought, you know, I cannot allow a hiccup in time to cause an unrealistic over expenditure.
Yeah.
And that's what it was ending up to be.
Yeah.
And could I have afforded it? Probably. But was it really necessary? No. And I actually looked at the opportunity cost. What is the next best thing that I could be spending this money on that I would have to give up in order to get this? And then it all kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's so I want to talk about that, but how this process works if you work the process.
Yeah.
Is my point of this because, you know, it's great that we could say all of these things all day long about techniques and plans and programs, but if you don't apply them, they don't work.
Right.
100% of the time, they will fail if you do not use them.
Yeah.
You know, so when we talk about success rates, you know, there's the 100% failure rate is to not try anything.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about that on today's show. And then what else? Did I say a moolah word?
You did not say a moolah word yet.
Okay, but we will have a moolah word.
Yes.
All right. So that's what's on today's show.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty excited.
We got a moolah word, a key, and a topic.
Yes. So we're loaded for bear.
That's the deal.
We're ready to go.
Yeah.
So as we start to brave the summer temperatures, we can take comfort in the fact that we're going to be starting a new season and we're going to be doing it air conditioning style at Freedom Fest.
Las Vegas, baby.
I know. I'm going to have so much fun. It's going to be great.
I've never seen you in Vegas.
Well, it's exactly what you see here.
Yeah.
And, actually, you're going to see more of a work version of me there because it's going to be all work and very little play.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not a gambler. See, the opportunity cost is that, when I would gamble with clients, when I used to live up there as an investment advisor. But, I'm thinking I could waste $1,000 trying to earn something that I know that the odds are against me to win.
Completely.
Or I could take that $1,000 and go buy some luxury goods.
Yeah.
Buy some fabulous Louis Vuitton or, Christian Dior or something cool instead.
I don't get the gambling thing. I never got.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. Well, because it's exciting. It's an adrenaline rush. But then again, it's poor resource management.
So is scoring drugs.
Because I do that all the time. Yeah, I can see how that's a problem. Oh, goodness. This show is rapidly deteriorating. What happened to my show? Okay, folks. So let's get this week's key out of the way first because we really don't do them in their entirety here. But so for those of you who are just joining us for the first time or haven't joined us in a while, the Keys to Riches is a financial philosophy that teaches you how to think like the rich and be in control of your own money. And it became such a popular segment that it actually has its own syndicated show called The Keys to Riches, powered by Unlock Your Wealth Radio. So if you want the entire show for this week's key, which is forget the perfection principle, which many times we get hung up in the perfection of the process instead of the progress of the process.
Yeah.
And when we talk about long-term anything management, you've got to stay engaged. And if you are worried about falling off the wagon and then, and you focus on the fall instead of the get back up, you're not going to succeed long term because you're focusing on the wrong things. And so that's what this key is all about, is how to let go of the pain of the mistake, but still retain the message. And it's a really great show. So visit us at keys2riches.com or tune in at iTunes, Libsyn, Spreaker, gosh, anywhere we are, SoundCloud, you name it, we're there. So come check out that show if you want to learn the specific keys in our keys philosophy. Moolah, word of the day.
What's the word?
The word is afraid. The moolah word of the day is accounts payable. So accounts payable is money which a company owes to vendors for products and services purchased on credit.
On credit, okay.
Well, if I'm not writing, so when I leave here today, I'm not going to write you a check for what we did today.
That's true. Okay.
So you're technically extending me credit when you invoice me later.
I see. Yeah.
Even though, I didn't have to go and do the 4 layers of underwriting to get the credit extension from you. Like we talked about in Remember Real Estate, my character layer of risk is good here.
Yeah.
At the Music Lab West.
You're consistent.
And so you have technically extended me credit if I'm not.
Yeah, I guess. Okay. Never think about it that way.
Exactly. So, because if I didn't pay, then my credit wouldn't be good with you, would it?
Right. I guess not.
Yeah. See, so even though you're not some big bank, you're still extending credit because you're not getting paid today for what you're doing today.
Yeah.
So, and you probably won't get paid tomorrow either. Just had to throw that in.
Yeah,
but anyway, so the item appears on the company's balance sheet as a current liability, since the expectation is that the liability will be fulfilled in less than a year. Do I really have a year to pay you for today?
I think on the invoice it says what the terms are.
Would that maybe due upon receipt?
I think so. I used to do the 30-day thing.
Net 30.
And I said, forget it, because the net 30 meant net 60, net 90, and
so I'm looking for net 365.
Yeah,
according to this accounting method. No, but it says that the liability will be fulfilled in less than a year. So it goes into current liabilities, because then you also have long-term liabilities when you have big debt, financing, corporate expansion, stuff like that. So when accounts payable are paid off, it represents a negative cash flow for the company. But that doesn't mean that you're in the red. It just means that that's how it's from an accounting perspective, it's represented as something going out versus something coming in, which would be income.
Right.
So you have income coming in, and this is just the opposite of the income. This is the outgo, and it's money going in the opposite direction. So that's a great term for today's show, because when we think about, having to acquire items and the ramifications of our expenditures and the opportunity cost and all the things that we're going to talk about on how to buy absolutely anything without overspending, is that we have to keep that in mind, is what could our dollars be doing? Mm-hmm. And I always think of like dollars as little minions in your army. And are they, working for the cause for financial freedom? Or are they working against the cause for financial poverty?
Yeah.
And you can perpetuate poverty or you can build wealth, but you can't do both at the same time. It's either for the cause or against the cause. Mm-hmm. And when we spend above our means, outside our planned spending in our savings and spending plan, we ebb away at that future unearned income. When we spend cash today on something we do not need or it's superfluous, I'm just thinking in terms of cars. So like you want a Mustang, right? And you can buy a Mustang, but you had to get the like 50th anniversary edition with all the bells and whistles.
Yeah.
And so all of the bells and whistles are superfluous, because if you just need four wheels to get you to and from work and look cool, just a plain Mustang. A Mustang is still a Mustang.
Yeah, you still look cool. Yeah.
So it's not a Yugo.
Right. Exactly.
It's not a Pinto.
Exactly.
It's a Mustang. So it's still got panache or cachet, if you will. But the rest of it is superfluous. Because how often do you have your car prepare you espresso in the morning? I mean, like if we think about it, we're not doing it currently. And that's going to be something that we'll talk about as we delve into the steps of how to buy absolutely anything without overspending. So that's it for the moolah word of the day. So accounts payable. So if it's paid off within a year, and that doesn't necessarily mean that you are a slow pay or late pay. It's just for accounting purposes, debts that are due in less than 1 year, which would include your net 30 or payable upon receipt, versus long-term liabilities, like, capital expansion projects that are financed and that you owe debt for because, you opened 5 more stores or something like that. Right. So that's how we understand that from the accounts payable perspective. So moving right along. So this weekend, and Dinero, the Prosperity Poochie, has a long-term illness. It's supposedly beatable. It's valley fever. And it requires quite a bit of medication, and it's really damaging to the kidneys in this particular breed of dog.
That's too
it tends
bad.
to have kidney challenges anyway. And so he has to be on a special dog food that's really, really expensive, and he really doesn't like it. And he is not a food-motivated dog anyway.
Really?
Yeah. I
Not
mean,
at
like,
all.
if you give him a treat, like, you would think he would be, like, at high tea, he would take it delicately, like a finger sandwich. Not like your Dinero.
Yeah.
Who takes the treat and your finger with it. Because a little fresh meat never hurt nobody. According
Look
to
at that little guy.
yeah, he's closing his eyes. La la la, I'm not listening to you talk about me. So anyway, I found on the internet a recipe, and it had the same exact ingredients that this store-bought food was. But and you had to get it from a vet. It didn't have any medication in it. All right, but it was just something that's right there. But it was like $40 for like a 6-pound bag of dog food. It was
my God.
astronomical. And I'm like, if it's got all these ingredients, and I think to myself, being the industrious, doer, fixer, builder, I mean, because that's just the way I grew up, we were so poor. So in order for me to have what everybody else had, I had to figure out how to create it on my own.
Right.
And so I'm like, how am I supposed to save, $80 a week on dog food? And that's all I ever hear from my husband. You're always spending money on that dog. And I'm like, but it's my kid, so.
Yeah.
And it's not $250,000 over 18 years. Come on now. So back up, will you? It's not like I have a baby.
Yeah.
This is my dog.
Yeah, you're
This is my
Poochie.
baby. He's my baby. So I thought, okay, so I found a recipe and stuff, and you have to, cook rice and barley and oatmeal and stuff. And when you do it on the stove, it's like an all-day process.
Yeah.
Like, even though, like, the recipe, I wound up tweaking the recipe anyway, but the original recipe I got off said, it's only an hour of cook time. And that was like an hour and then another hour for the next part and then another hour.
Wow.
And so now I'm so far in because I've got a dehydrator now and stuff. And so I had this because I had gone so far in all the appliances to do this dog food. And he loves it. It's the same exact ingredients. I don't know what's different other than mommy makes it with love.
Yeah.
But it's fresh. It's all organic stuff. I don't know what they're putting in that bag. Mm-hmm. And so I got this dehydrator, and so I bought this just little plastic, I think it was $5, this microwave like rice cooker, because I thought, you know what, there's got to be a way that's less messy than the stove. And I got this microwave little rice cooker thing for $5.
Yeah.
And it was working out pretty good, to make the rice part of it and steam the vegetables part. And then I could just whip it into the blender and then do the oven and then to the dehydrator thing. And so I had company, and then something chaotic started happening. And so I just typed in the time on the microwave and hit start. I forgot to adjust the cook thing. So in 20 minutes, or in 40 minutes, because it was the brown rice is a 40-minute gig, I come back, and then there's smoke coming out of the microwave. And it... because it was cooked on full blast instead of half power. It's supposed to be half power for the time, but because I was distracted, I was like, tick, tick, tick. So it burnt it so bad. Like I thought, I'll soak it and the rice will come right out. It made the rice a part of the plastic.
Wow.
It burnt it so bad. And so I thought, I do have a kitchen gadget fetish. And I thought, maybe I should just invest in a regular rice cooker. Mm-hmm. And then I'm like, I had looked at, you see the infomercials and stuff. And then I was like, what if I got a pressure cooker? Because then I can make all of this stuff, la, 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 And so I'm thinking, okay. So then all I do is I go to the internet and I'm like, best rice cooker, right? And I'm thinking it's going to pop up to the one brand of appliances that I have so they all match.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which are fairly overpriced.
Can you go to Amazon or just Google?
Well, I go to Google first to do my initial search, and then I try to shop for the best price. But I wasn't using my technique for stopping overspending. And I had to put the brakes on because I had to think about this logically. I'm like, this has so many features. And I'm like, but this one has so many more features and it's not that much more money. And before you know it, a $49 appliance is now $249.
Yeah.
Just for a rice cooker, but then it escalated and then I'm like,
wow.
But I could do all of this stuff, and then I had to think about it, and then I said, wait a minute, and so I exercised key 5, pull the reins back, whoa, Nelly, and I said to myself, key 5, take emotion out of the picture, take engagement. I'm getting all engaged of so now move toward is really kicking in.
That's cool. Let's get
That's cool. I could do all of these things. I'm starting to get excited. Sally Homemaker. I'm like, going nuts. And then I was like, whoa. This is escalating out of proportion because then there's all the accessories to buy.
You just want to cook some friggin' rice here.
Exactly. I just need to make dog food. That's all I need to do. And so I took a step back and I said, you know what? I need to go to my shopping technique. So I go out and I get my piece of paper, and then I worked through the steps of the technique, and I wound up buying the most appropriate appliance and not the most expensive one. And so I thought, you know what? We have to teach this on the show because this can apply to anything. This can apply to cars, houses, small appliances, clothes, you name it.
Plugins?
Plugins? Yeah. With your problem with plugins. But I could do so much more. How many clients do you have to do that? None yet.
None.
But if I had this client, I could do this work. If I had this plugin, I could do more clients because I could do this kind of music. So let's talk about what this process is, because this is going to be, it's how to buy absolutely anything and not overspend. So you can truly apply it to anything. This segment of Unlock Your Wealth Radio is sponsored in part by KeepMyID.org, the only service that actually prevents identity theft. All others are just monitoring services. Put your credit on lockdown with their special offer for Unlock Your Wealth Radio listeners. Just visit unlockyourwealthradio.com/keep my ID and click on the link to protect your credit and your family's future right now. Remember to use promo code WAGS. So let's talk about what this process is. So let's talk about it's a strategy for spending, because we're not saying don't spend. This isn't about denial, okay? Remember, because denial is a bad thing. This is about appropriateness. This is about how can I have my cake and eat it too? And so in order to do that, we have to be fiscally responsible. And so when we say the word responsible, it is a compound word of response, able.
Oh,
so it's our
like
ability to respond. You know, when people think, well, it's my responsibility. And I said, no, it's not your responsibility. It's your obligation. How you meet it is your responsibility.
Nice.
So when we think about that in terms, you know, so if we think in terms of obligations and responsibilities, that's kind of the way to set it up. So here's how to appropriately respond to anything that you need to buy. So first, you have to determine what is the need I am trying to satisfy. And so like I was fixated on rice cooker, right? Because I was cooking rice. But what was the need I was trying to fulfill? So this is the perfect example to walk through the steps. So the need I was trying to fill was making dog food. And cooking rice is only one part of it. There's still all these vegetables that need to be cooked with it. You know, so I've got carrots, I've got lentils, I've got apples and sweet potatoes, as opposed to yams, sweet potatoes. So I've got all these things that have to go into it. So it's not just about cooking rice, all right? So I was fixated on rice cooker, okay? But because I was able to dissociate and take a breath and walk around and figure out, okay, am I thinking about this logically? And no, I'm not. I was emotionally engaged in the idea of getting something new. Ooh, new toy.
Stuff, yeah.
You know, like a dog, he plays with the new squeaky toy for like 5 minutes, and then he goes back to his dirty old one.
I've been there.
So I had to step back. So the first thing is identify what need or problem you were trying to solve. And the problem wasn't cooking rice. The problem was making dog food. Okay, so that was the real problem. And what was the problem? That I had to have this big, huge pot, and I had crap all over the stove because I had these incremental cooking things. So I had to add things at certain times. You know, every 20 minutes I had to add something else to the pot. So I meant I had to take off the pot, and then water gets all over when the steam releases, and then it's got to work up to its cooking pressure, like all that stuff.
You have a gas stove or a glass?
Yeah,
top?
It's a gas stove, and I hate gas stoves.
It makes a mess.
Well, it makes a mess. It's harder to clean. And gas is not like people think, oh, fabulous chefs use gas. Well, forget that. I want temperature regulation. I don't want to have to keep my eyeball on it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And with a fire, even a consistent fire will still get hotter over time.
Yeah.
So anyway, but that's shopping for a new stove. That's not today's show. Today's show is the rice cooker. So we identified now that my problem isn't cooking rice. My problem is preparing dog food in a faster, cleaner, more expeditious manner, because there's tons of crap to clean, you know, after I make the dog food while it goes into the oven in the next 2 stages of development. So I need a way to prepare dog food. So is it a rice cooker? Maybe. But what other methods or ways, because I still have to cook the vegetables. So am I going back to the pot even though I'm cooking the rice? Or do I cook the vegetables in the microwave? I don't like microwaving food, really.
Right.
I was only doing it as a shortcut. I was kind of cheating with things because I didn't feel like cleaning the whole kitchen. Anyway, that's why I got the thing. And so I was like, okay, so I got to be able to cook all of this at once. So is a rice cooker going to fulfill my needs? No, because I still have vegetables to cook. Could I cook vegetables in a rice cooker? Yes. Could I cook them at the same time? No. And so because I can't cook them at the same time, in the rice cooker, ixnay on the ice cooker ray, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So now rice cooker's off the table. So what other appliance can I get
Wow.
that can do this? All right. So I've got to like open my search criteria because now I'm not just looking for a rice cooker. So I've got to figure out a way that I can make it all at once. But a crock pot would take all day, right?
Yeah.
And I already have one of those. So if a crock pot was the answer, I could probably be using it. But, I don't have 10 hours to cook rice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Dog's hungry now. So how do I do this? And so then I thought, okay, so I was thinking about it because I had gotten on the internet first. So then I thought, okay, so could I meet my needs with another appliance? And the answer was yes. And so then it became, I could get one of those pressure cookers. Oh. So they have different kinds. They have the appliance kind, or they have the kind that goes on the stove. Uh-huh. And the kind that goes on the stove still gets me back to being a messy stove.
Yep.
So I'm whittling these things down, but I'm doing it not by the features of the item that it has. I'm doing it by what's going to fit my needs. And I'm focused on the needs because here's how we get distracted. Is this like we get, but for $50 more, you can get all these bells and whistles. Yeah. And so we're thinking, oh my God, it's a bargain. And it's only $50 more. We'll have all these features. But if those features are superfluous, they're not a benefit to you. No. Now they're costing you money.
Right.
So that's why we want to do this assessment first. And so then I researched, can I cook rice and vegetables at the same time and have them each come out the way they should? And yes, you can in a pressure cooker. So now I'm onto the pressure cooker appliances. And so now, again, so I list all my needs. So what I want it to be. Well, I have a crock pot that you have to wash the whole doggone thing that has the electric attached to it. Yeah. So that's a pain in the butt. So that messes with my cleaning criteria. So what do I have to do? So I want something that's removable. So I want a removable pot that I can clean so the appliance doesn't get all jacked up.
There you go.
So now I'm whittling these things down. So now that I've figured out what I want, now I can go start comparison shopping. Oh, wait a minute. No, I can't because I have to figure out how much am I willing to spend on this. So I need to mentally set what I can afford. Now, whether I adjust that after I do my comparison shop, if my target dollar amount isn't realistic, I can alter that as we go. But you got to set it first. Okay? And so I said $50. I'm good for $50 on this appliance. So now I can go searching, right? So now I go searching and all I'm finding at $50 are rice cookers. And I found one pressure cooker, but it wasn't by a name brand manufacturer that I recognize or would determine as reputable. And the reviews were like 2.5 stars. And so 2.5 stars tells me there's way more 1 stars than there are 3.
Yep. I agree.
and on a 5-star rating system, that means that nobody thought it was fantastic.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, so now I'm having to adjust my price upwards, but now I'm only, so I'm looking at stuff and I'm comparing the features I need only. And now I'm able to shop around and $100 became my new price point. And so then I said, is $100 still in my budget? Because if it wasn't, and I had the luxury of time on my side, because I didn't have to have it today. I could have went through the old process. So it's not like it was an emergency replacement. So if I didn't have that extra $50, I could make a plan at that point to save for it. But because I had the other $50 and I thought, what else am I going to spend on this $50? And more importantly, I said, is my time worth more than the $50? Because that means I'm going to have to go out there and do it longhand. And I'm going to have to go mess up the stove and do all of this stuff. And I have company and yada, yada. Yeah. So I said, okay, you know what? It's worth the $50 to have this thing right now so I can get the dog food made now. Yeah. In a simple fashion and be done with it. And so that's how I did it. And so that's the process you need to do is you need to identify what it is that you're trying to solve first, because what you think you need may not solve the problem. It could help. And if I bought a rice cooker, I still had the dilemma of the other stuff. And the problem to solve was expeditious dog food preparation. Yeah. So that's how you buy anything. And you can apply this to cars or wheels move forward.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
So that's what we have to think about. So if you want this step-by-step process, all you have to do is visit the website and click on today's show, and you can download this actual, my whole strategy for how to buy absolutely anything on the website. You are listening to Unlock Your Wealth Radio. I'm Heather Wagenhals, and for the maestro of Moolah, Michael Terry, thank you so much for joining us, and go out and unlock your wealth today.
UnlockYourWealthRadio.com is produced by Heather Wagenhals and the Unlock Your Wealth Foundation. UnlockYourWealthRadio.com and its affiliates are copyrighted 2016 with all rights reserved. For more information on the Keys to Riches Financial Wellness Series, please visit our website, www.unlockyourwealth.com.